Alright, so I just finished this thing called Starters by Movie Unleashers. Man, was it freaking good. I came into it not expecting it to be like even half of as good as it was, but geez, it was really well written and very impressive, by the way, because it's made by one guy. One guy voices everybody aside from like maybe a few characters in some of them, but I think in Typo Maniac and Rare Candy he literally voices everybody, which is pretty crazy. So he animates it, he writes it, he does it all by himself. Very impressive work. And man, the writing is really freaking good, man. And you know, I'm gonna watch it again and take notes, and I think I'm gonna make this video a regular more positive analysis of what actually happens, and I'm going to explain the story and everything that happens. It's way less complicated than Angel Hair, but I think it's even better than that, honestly. I'm not even lying. Like I actually think Starters is really high tier stuff. Now, of course, I've got a few issues with it, but they aren't major. Like I think it really could have worked better, especially I think that the moment in Lavender Town where Hypno basically just tells the kids that you know, the people that they're looking at are evil spirits. I thought that Hypno was hypnotizing them to see like a fake world where they don't see them anymore, so he could come and bring them into his orphanage. But I guess that's not the case. What happens in the Lavender Town one is that Hypno hypnotizes children and then he brings them into his orphanage so he can take care of them, because all the parents of the children are actually dead, and in Lavender Town they do a ritual so that they can be seen by outsiders, and then whenever outsiders come in they kill them so they can keep up the ritual. That's basically what it is. I think that my favorite, honestly, that sounds super ridiculous explaining it, but I think that one of my favorite aspects of Starters is that it's extremely, like, it deals with some extremely absurd things if you just explain like what's going on here, like extremely ridiculous stuff. Like, for example, Mudkip is like 10 years old or something, but this guy has a whole man's voice. He's a serial killer scientist that takes out the elements of different Pokemon, and he's literally a psychopath, and he doesn't feel anything aside from his friendship with his best friend Chespin. Like, that is some extremely absurd stuff. And then Fennekin, I always want to say Fenneco, like the girl from fucking Agretsuko, but no, Fennekin, who becomes Braxian by Rare Candy, but Fennekin, she has like anger issues and stuff like that, and she's extremely selfish. Holy crap, is she freaking selfish. And then Chespin is extremely cheery and happy, and he tries his best, but he cracks by the end. It's really sad actually by Rare Candy. It sounds like it'd be a comedy thing, like Mudkip is a crazy guy, and then Fennekin gets angry easily. You could easily make that a comedy because this is extremely absurd stuff, and they're Pokemon characters, and it's in the South Park style, and one guy is voice acting it. It's like, you know, everything is working against this, working as a serious, these things working as serious stories. And while they do have their comedic bits and moments, it really does work as they really do work as serious stories. Like, they're actually interesting. And I just want to talk about my favorite aspect of Starters. Man, I got a lot of aspects of Starters that I really enjoyed, and it honestly felt great to check out the series again, because I watched it in like 6th grade when I was a kid. I think I watched it when Oran Berries was new. Or like a Rare Candy was the last episode or something. But yeah, man, it was just my favorite aspect of the show is probably the villains. Honestly, they're some of the most interesting antagonists I've seen. So with Lavender Town's, Hypno is like obviously portrayed to be like this pedophilic guy. What he's doing, he's hypnotizing children so that they can't see anybody around you. So before you get that spirit explanation, you're like, okay, this guy's hypnotizing children to see things that to not be able to see adults and stuff like that, or interact with them. And it's like, okay, this guy is now also bringing children to his orphanage and taking care of them or something. And what's up with the tea thing where he's like, just drink the tea? Like what is up with, like, why did he do that, you know? But then Hypno's not in the clear. I think that Lavender Town is probably one of the more flawed episodes, honestly. it's a bit confusing in some area. I don't think it's bad. I just think that it has some issues, but you know, he's like, just drink the tea. And then after we realize the spirits are the one doing the ritual, but also Hypnos are the ritual. Yeah, episode one, or just the Lavender Town one is a bit messy. That's what I'm going to say. But I think that Typomaniac's the next one. I think that Mudkip being the villain is extremely interesting, and how they did it was just bro, it was so freaking good. And it's not to the point where it's like, okay, I can sympathize with Mudkip because he's still a psychopath, like he's killing people. But on one hand, it's like Mudkip is very manipulative and he's very psychopathic, and he seems to have some kind of obsession with his friend Chespin, because Chespin's really nice and he's the only friend that he's ever had. So he experiments on different Pokemon and fucking takes out their their elements and stuff. That's actually what the whole episode centers around. Fennekin wants her fire type removed because she ends up having an angry outburst, and then she's like, oh, I hate being a fire type because I keep hurting people. And Mudkip does that, and then that ends up being his undoing. So because in Red Candy we learned that Chespin actually the twists are really good. But no, my favorite villain was probably Dr. Sylveon though. Dr. Sylveon was he was good because it was like what he was trying to do felt like it was for the greater good, right? Like so what it was that Mudkip has the ability to, as I said, he's the only person that figured out how to actually take elements out of people and replace them back, or with probably other parts presumably. So Dr. Sylveon wanted him to do that to people to save them, because what happened was that there's this drug called Rare Candy in Rare Candy, where it was literally they eat a rare candy and it makes their type so powerful, whatever the type is so powerful that it blows their chest up, but it can also evolve them early. That's why Fennekin became Braxian in Rare Candy by the end. But he wants that, but how he does it, like, and it makes sense too, like Mudkip is literally a serial killer. Like, he killed so many people, he experimented on people, he like probably tortures people and shit too. So it's like Mudkip is literally a psychopath. Like, this guy should not be allowed free. And Dr. Sylveon uses a lot of lies, and he literally punches Chespin in the face and beats him up in front of Mudkip to do this stuff. And he fucking like pulls it was so crazy when he pulled a gun out on him, like on Chespin. He was like, I'm gonna fucking blow his head off. You don't listen to me. You're like, whoa, bruh. Like, whoa, you know? It was really weird. There are a lot of other small things that in the analysis I would really need to, like, you know, sit down and write about. I'm probably gonna really like pay really close attention to starters. I'm gonna take like a break for like 2 hours just to think more about this, because again, these are my immediate thoughts after finishing it. Now, there are things I don't like I don't think that it makes sense given how the dialogue is probably one of the best parts of the entire show. The acting isn't the best, right? But I'm not expecting my expectations weren't super high anyway for the acting, because it's like one guy doing all of this. You know, voice acting, writing, drawing, those are all completely different skills that have nothing to do with each other. So the fact that he's all right at voice acting and great at writing and all right at animating and drawing and all that's cool. But what I am saying is that it's the dialogue that really carries it, and it's the dialogue that really carries the show because it's so freaking realistic. And also the fact that the soundtrack is so sparsely used, it just feels like real conversations. It's extremely uncomfortable a lot of the time. It's, you know, but because so I really wanted to highlight where my issue with them being actual children comes in. They want to have Chespin feel like, you know, feel like staying a child forever, his childhood whimsy and Rare Candy, right? But at the same time, with that clashes with the fact that he's able to have a good conversation, or have a really emotionally deep conversation and completely understand the nuances of what Fennekin is saying. And Fennekin's like 12, 13 years old. She's 13 by this point. She's like a day after 12. But she's able to easily talk about her issues and process the fact that, oh, I don't want to date. She doesn't just say, I don't want to date you because you're a grass type. Like, oh yeah, by the way, there's racism. There's Pokemon racism. There's so many crazy aspects of this world that's like, okay, how is this not a comedy? But it's not. It's like actually really good. But she doesn't want to date Chespin because he's a grass type. She's really apprehensive about that because she's a fire type. So if she could easily accidentally, I think that was a fly, kill him. So that's why she doesn't want to. And they're able to have what sounds like an extremely adult conversation, despite them both being in elementary school. And I think that it just make way more sense. You could basically have the exact same plot if these guys were in like high school or something, right? Then it would make more sense. It would be, they're still trying to figure out who they are because they're high schoolers, but it would make more sense for them to be able to have and comprehend this kind of conversation. It feels like Movie Unleashers, or Dane, I believe his name is. It's literally at the end of credits. I don't know how I don't remember it. I'm going to remember it after I watch it twice, but Dane or Dan or whatever, you know, it feels like he wants to have it both ways. He feels like he wants to have these characters be kids and also have them have these really emotionally deep and highly intelligent, well-written conversations. And it just is kind of weird. It's just like a weird, like, it feels like these characters are adults. And in South Park, like in the actual South Park, the reason why it's fine for, like, I don't know, like Stan and Kyle and Cartman and shit to maybe do some things that feel adult, or something that a child would probably never do, that's fine in a lot of instances, because of the fact that that's a purely comedic show. And the fact that these elementary children are doing adult things is literally part of why South Park is so funny. This is South Park inspired, so it took the element of them being kids, but it adds the adult element of them, where they're still acting kind of like adults, and it's like, okay, you know, it doesn't make any sense really. But it's not really the biggest issue. It's just it's not really a nitpick or a giant issue. It's just something that could have been tweaked a little bit. Overall, I'm probably gonna rewatch starters and have more specific issues for it, because I feel like I've got a few in me. Like, I got a few criticisms I could really give for the series, but first time watching it, I loved it and I didn't really have any issues with it. I really just want to rewatch it and take notes on what really works and maybe what doesn't work, you know. I've got issues with the Lavender Town episode. I think the most forgettable episode, though, is probably the one with the star legendary Pokemon. I think his name is Rengashi or something. I'm not saying that was a bad episode, but what I am saying is that it kind of doesn't really tie into anything else, because it's basically episodic. Like, everything just gets reverted to the end. So that whole thing that just happened was like, okay, let's just pretend this didn't happen, because that's not a big issue, but you know, this is kind of how I feel about it. But yeah, unlike a regular like hyper critique or regular positive and negative analysis like I did for Angel Hair, or, you know, with Angel Hair, I had a lot of issues with Angel Hair, even though I liked it. But with this one, I really like it. I don't have that many issues with it. So what I'm going to do instead is a positive analysis, a regular analysis, and then a positive analysis explaining why I think that what each episode does works. So how I'm going to do that, how I'm going to format it, is I'll talk about Lavender Town first, and then I'll just explain what happens in it, right? And then I will positively analyze it and critique what I think doesn't work. And then I'll do that for each and every episode. Now, I think that the weirdest episode, by the way, I didn't even mention this yet, is the Ditto one. Yeah, it's because he like half wrote it while he was like 13 years old. So I'm not too mad about it. These are really like starter ideas for what he wanted to do with this series. It's very much just like South Park, but what if South Park and Pokemon mix? It's very much like that. There's this otter guy, I forgot his name, I'm not actually a Pokemon fan, but there's this like otter guy or something, and he's like never Mudkip is, it's so weird seeing Mudkip as like a background character without a mustache, or like hearing Chespin's different voice, or like the fact that like Cyndaquil's voice is not consistent like at all until the end. I thought it was like his little brother voicing him at the start, but no, I think it was actually like him or something. But yeah, no, this was a really interesting thing to go through. I really did enjoy starters. I'm going to be focusing on analyzing this. In the coming days, I'm going to be more busy, so I can't guarantee that a video will be out or anything in like even like a week, right? School's starting back up and getting a job, so you know I'm gonna have to be more careful, I guess, with the time I use with analyzing stuff. I think that after this, I want to talk about like fluffy fighters or something, so I could hopefully like push that one out. If I could analyze fluffy fighters and explain why it's so good, and that video gets big, man, that would be freaking incredible. My hopes for that, I really want people to see that series. That series was really good. It's like it's like Pretty Blood, right? Like half of why a lot of people know what Pretty Blood is because of that one video that some guy made. And they're like, oh, that's how I got into Pretty Blood. I ended up watching that video, and then I ended up, you know, I hope that the video I make about fluffy fighters soon will be like that. Also, I want to make Blood's Pretty Part 3 soon. Let me see what I have in my immediate notes, actually. Oh yeah, starters video, pilots video, Blood's Pretty 3. I did do that yesterday. I watched a lot of starters, so I'm gonna check that off. Watch starters again, I haven't, so I'm gonna have to. So oh yeah, I do have a pilots video ready. Not ready literally, but like the idea for it ready. You know, I might start writing for it soon after the starters video, right? But yeah, I'm thinking of like man, just been doing a lot. But the pilots video, right? I wanted to make a video. I got a suggestion on like, oh, make a video about how to make a good pilot, and I'm like, that's a really freaking good idea. And I should also make my own work so people can critique, talk about it, see the quality of it, be like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about, or they can just, you know, dismiss me. That'll be fine too. So pilots or Blood's Pretty 3. I think I'm gonna work on the pilots video and then Blood's Pretty 3, and then I'm gonna focus on fluffy fighters. If you didn't watch starters, watch starters. If you didn't watch fluffy fighters, watch fluffy fighters. And I'll see you guys whenever, if you watch this video and the angel hair one, which is coming out in a few hours. I'm recording this at 10:42 a.m. so that's like 4 hours. Man, I'm kind of scared of the reception that one's gonna get. I think it's gonna be really freaking controversial, especially because I call Gabby a groomer. Like, oh my gosh, not without sufficient reason, but I think nonetheless it's gonna be very controversial. So yeah, see you guys later.